So let's look at some of the areas that I wanted to cover today, and let us start off with a map here. So I wanted to discuss what I feel is very important aspect or a component of making any real estate investment. So when you're making a real estate investment outside your home country, you're looking at a couple of things. One is that obviously it should be safe so that you can personally go and reside, you can maintain or manage the property, you can enjoy your time in the country, you can have, maybe you have family and you're visiting with your family, so all of that should be safe. So your investment should be in a safe location, so in case you need it as your own second home or second residence, you have that covered. And at the same time, you can also rent it out, you can have your rental yields, etc. from that market. The other important thing that you should be looking for when you make a property investment is you should have traffic, right? So when you're looking at rental potential, you should have traffic from some of the richer nations where people have money, they earn a lot and they have the money to spend on the rental yield. So yes, your rental potential might be very high in certain areas, but what if you aren't getting a lot of wealthy tourists to rent those apartments out? So a classic example is, let's say someone visiting from Canada or the US, high paying jobs, a lot of money is generated. So the rental potential for the neighboring areas, neighboring countries is very high because you have direct flights, direct access from the US. So when you look at the map, I wanted to focus the attention on a couple of key states in the US. One is Florida. So you have Miami. People from the US, from all over the world, actually flock to Miami for several reasons. So Miami is strategically quite important. The other important thing about Miami is that it's located very close to all your other smaller nations like Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and Cayman Islands, and a host of other countries that are clustered surrounding Miami. So strategically, that makes this state of Florida very important. Now, not only that people come and visit because of the Disney, Miami, etc., but once they are in Florida, it's very easy for them to have a 1 hour, 1.5 hour flight to the neighboring country. So it can all be done on one trip. So that's the big potential that I see with Florida. The other state is Houston, rather Texas, and Texas has obviously other cities, Houston being one of them. You have cheaper properties there, so a lot of people like buying real estate in Houston. A lot of Americans have their second homes or third homes in the state of Texas. It's a great state, so that's the other potential. You have traffic coming in from Houston, or someone actually looking for a property in the US. They do consider Houston as a potential option because, again, cheaper real estate, great accessibility right on the coastal side, so you can have an easy trip to the neighboring countries. So the point being, you have a lot of traffic, a lot of people from the US constantly traveling and vacationing outside the US. Exceedingly, there's a lot of trend for travel, visit, and even relocation outside. So, so what I'm going to focus on is some of the key, let's say, low-hanging fruits that are really accessible from these two markets. And if you look at the map, some of the very obvious examples are Mexico, because it's a big country, it's a livable country. You have direct flights from Miami to Cancun, which is literally 1.5 to 2 hours long, or I think approximately a couple of hours. So that makes it very attractive. In a couple of hours, you're back and forth from the US to Mexico. So that's one of the options I'm going to cover. The other one is, and this is one of my favorite picks, Dominican Republic. So Dominican Republic is right here. So I'm going to cover that option as well. Dominican Republic because it's closer to Puerto Rico. So a lot of US citizens do have base in Puerto Rico. So Dominican Republic has that strategic location. It's accessible from Puerto Rico, so it gives you access to that Puerto Rican market. And then it also has direct access from Miami. A lot of tourists would love to do the Miami, Bahamas, Dominican Republic type of a vacation, and multiple combinations. People hop around everywhere. They visited one state once, they like to visit a new place. So this is all within that range. So that's the reason why I feel the Dominican Republic is also a great market for property investment. Now, while I'm discussing all these options, one thing I would want to make clear: this is not investment or immigration advice. This is my analysis on these options and my personal opinion. So your investment strategy should not be based on what I'm saying. This is my personal opinion and educational content. So yes, the Dominican Republic is the second great option in this area. What I also like and would like to cover is some of the real estate investment opportunities in Brazil. Again, Brazil has direct flights. And it is a big market. You have a lot of coastal areas in Brazil, so that's a potential great option to consider from a real estate investment. And there is also a special area that I'd like to cover, and that is going to be the territory of Curacao, which is again in that same cluster. So it's right here. So I'm also going to cover Curacao. This is strategically very important. Again, located very close to that US market. It could be a great second home, but it also has a very unique hidden advantage, which is the potential path to Dutch citizenship. Now, the Netherlands is quite far away. This is really located remotely, but this remote option, which is very close to the US, can actually get you that all important Dutch nationality. So again, I'm going to cover that special option and places where you can consider. You also have Aruba close by, which is again a Dutch territory, just like Curacao. Again, a big hot favorite amongst a lot of American tourists. So they love Aruba, they love vacationing there. A lot of remote nomads work from Aruba during the year, to enjoy what Aruba has to offer and obviously continue working as a nomad. And when I said Brazil has a great coastline, and I'm a big fan of investing in second homes which are on the coastal or close to the coastal areas. What that does is it gives a lot of traffic from people visiting. People like to visit the coast, enjoy the coastline, and whichever place has that potential, or rather that option for a coastal investment, I usually love those options. So Brazil also has some great coastal real estate opportunities. You have Rio de Janeiro, you have Sao Paulo, you have Curitiba as one of the options. So I'm going to cover some of these markets as well. So the reason why Brazil, because Brazil also has a great coastline. It has great opportunities for coastal investments. I'm a big fan of coastal investments because people like to visit the coast when they visit a country. So if you make an investment closer to the coastline or the shoreline, again, that's a beautiful property. It not only gives you the beauty, it also gives you potential for more returns when you're doing, let's say, an Airbnb or renting out your property, because people love the coast. So it has some great areas which are my top favorites. You have Rio de Janeiro, obviously, you have Sao Paulo, an obvious one, but there's also Curitiba in the area where you can consider that as a potential investment. And there are several other options surrounding the coast, which are real good options to consider. So we're going to cover all of that as well. So let us get started with the first option, which is Mexico. So in Mexico, the three of my top picks, or the three areas which I really focus on, is Cancun, which is the tip on the shoreline. And you have direct access from Miami to Cancun, a big hotspot for American tourists traveling to Cancun from all over the US, Canada, etc. So Cancun is a hot top tourist destination. So if you buy a property in Cancun, again, relatively quite affordable. It's a hot selling cake because again, as I said, a lot of Airbnb, a lot of tourist potential, not just from the Americas, but from literally everywhere. So Cancun is a hot spot. If you like the laid back type of a second property, you can personally live and have a good time. and also you can have great rental potential in Cancun. So that's one of my top favorites. The other one is Mexico City. Now, if you're looking to personally reside and establish residency, then Mexico City is my top favorite because it gives you that city life, it gives you that Western vibe. It's a big hot city like the New York City. I'm not comparing New York City life to Mexico City, but I'm just saying that it is really at par with some of the top cities, which gives you that great city lifestyle. So Mexico City is a good option if you're renting as well as living full-time in Mexico. So that would be my choice. Then if you're looking for something on the other side, closer to California, then you have Baja California as well. Again, this is third on my list, but this has some great hidden gems where you can focus your attention on. It also gives you access to the coastal, closer to the coastal region. There's a lot of great water activities happen a lot in this area. So if you are interested in more of the coastal lifestyle on the other side, closer to California, then this is a good option in my opinion. So that covers Mexico. The second one is Dominican Republic. So Dominican Republic, because again, as I said, it's very accessible from the US and it has direct flights from Miami. Couple of hours you are in Dominican Republic, so that makes it a very strategic location. It's very close to Puerto Rico, so you have great accessibility either which ways, and it's right in the center. So Dominican Republic is a great option in my opinion. Just like with I mentioned with Cancun, in the Dominican Republic you have Punta Cana as one of the great options. Again, slightly laid back on the coast, a great property to personally live in my opinion, also a great option for renting it out. And you also have Santo Domingo, again a bigger city. Not a big fan of this one. I like Punta Cana more. When you're considering the safety, my favorite pick would be Punta Cana. I'm not saying Santo Domingo is any less. It's a great option for people who like city lifestyle. But when you if I have to overall consider one of the two, then I would prefer Punta Cana just because from an overall lifestyle perspective. Some of my favorite areas that I closely would look at is the Cape Cana coastline. So you have great opportunities, a lot of upcoming apartment complexes with great deals in Cape Cana. One of the biggest plus points about investing in Dominican Republic is that your own property, if it is 200K and structured correctly, then this property can yield you your eventual path to citizenship, a flexible residency permit, a permanent residency that you get with that investment. Now, mind you, this is not a Caribbean donation. This is, you're not parting away with this capital, just doing your own diversified investment in this country, buying your own condo. And in return, you're getting effectively an almost free residency, a permanent residency with flexible residency requirements. And then if you qualify, you can apply for your Dominican Republic citizenship and a passport in 2 years. So that's again, if you qualify and satisfy all the requirements, but that's a great option. You also have the Punta Cana village, which is again, in my opinion, a great place to spend time. And then you have all the hot areas like the Bavaro beach and several other beach towns by the coastline. Hot areas for investment, really hustling and bustling with tourists round the clock, 365 days a year, and fantastic vibe. And if you haven't visited Dominican Republic, you would not know what I'm talking about. If you visit Dominican Republic, you will know for yourself. It is a fantastic place to spend time. A lot of vacationers flock to Dominican Republic because a couple of things. It is beautiful. It is close to the US. It has the direct flights. So really, you can't go wrong with this option. So that's the option of Dominican Republic. You have a couple of great options in Brazil. Again, I would primarily focus on the coastline rather than the mainland. 3 of my top favorite picks in Brazil are Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo. Again, great city to live in, Sao Paulo. And then you also have Curitiba. So if you can't manage to find the great deal in Rio and Sao Paulo, then Curitiba can be a good third option to consider as well. The reason Brazil, you have several options for getting a Brazilian citizenship. If you have birth in Brazil, it gives you your whole family the opportunity to naturalize in as early as a year if you satisfy the requirements. Again, that's not something that you should actively pursue. I'm just saying if you're already in Brazil or invested in Brazil, then you have a great option that they provide. And through investment, there are a lot of options. So you can consider your residency in Brazil, and if you invest in your own property, that's one of the options is 128K. Again, if you structure it correctly, you can get access to this market. Great investment potential, great place to have a second home. If you're looking for a hedge, a diversified investment, and a place to go outside, then Brazil is a good option in my opinion. Now focusing attention on the all-important Curacao. Now this is again an island nation or an island territory. It's an independent territory of the Dutch, and it is in the same ballpark. So you're looking at closer to Dominican Republic. It's closer to all your CBI countries. So let's say you have a citizenship from one of the CBI nations. Again, really close by to all of those. Close by to Miami, close by to Dominican Republic. So that is also a great option. Again, closer to Brazil. So it's right in the center. I like options which are centrally located, because when you have a nomadic lifestyle and when you're establishing residencies in a cluster, something that's in the center is always appealing. Now, the unique advantage of Curacao, again, apart from the great, safe, quality lifestyle that you would find in Curacao, it also has that indirect path to Dutch citizenship. So if you're looking for a property investment in Curacao, a plan B getaway, again, this is quite a getaway style location. Not a whole lot of people know Curacao as much. A lot of people haven't even heard about Curacao. So it is a tucked in, hidden, great option for a diversified, exotic investments. If you're into standard investments, then something like a Brazil or a Mexico would work better for you. But if you're in exotic investments where you take some amount of risk, but you're looking for that exotic property, then Dominican Republic, Curacao are great options. Obviously, Curacao is one of my top favorite picks because of that Dutch residency or Dutch citizenship that you can eventually work yourself towards. The PR in Curacao, you can obtain that with a 280K investment in your properties. If you buy a beautiful coastline property in Curacao, let's say for rental purposes or living purposes, then you can obtain or you can apply for your permanent residency in Curacao. The actual physical presence on permanent residency is very, very flexible. Obviously, there's some separate requirements for citizenship, but once you complete 5 years in with this permanent residency, then you can qualify for your Dutch nationality eventually. So this is again a hot favorite. So these are some of the areas. The main theme being you're not only looking for great investments, but you're also looking for that other major benefit from these investments is that eventual path to citizenship. So Brazil does have that. Curacao does have that. Dominican Republic obviously has that very reduced time frames. 2 years is very aggressive, very fast. So buying your own property and then looking at a citizenship in 2 years, if you satisfy the requirements, is a hot investment in my opinion. Again, this is not going to be your primary passport because it's not that strong, but nonetheless, a nationality and a passport is always a great solid option. Then you also have Mexico that leads to citizenship if you satisfy those requirements. The temporary residency that you get from a Mexican investment is pretty flexible, so you don't actually physically have to have a fixed time spent in Mexico. But if you're looking for that eventual citizenship, then you need to look at a couple of years to satisfy your residency there, and then eventually you're looking at your Mexican citizenship as well. So these are some of the areas. Obviously, there are tons of other areas I'm going to cover in future videos, but I thought these were the immediate low-hanging fruits, which are quite important, very strategically located with great potential from a rental as well as from a living perspective. So I hope you like this video. If you want to get started with any of your residency investments in any of these areas, click that link in the description, book a call with us. We can discuss your nationality, your use case, and we can get you started with the option of your choice or the option that really well aligns with your situation. And if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. And until next time, you take care and goodbye.